this sport, the sport in general, it's kind of not fair when you look at it. Like you look at Demetrious Johnson, is probably right now the best
Ever.
The best ever, yeah, I agree.
Pretty soon, one of the greatest fighters in the history of the sport will return to the octagon to give his loyal fans some more magic, just like he did in his prime time at the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The Mighty Mouse, as they call him, John Jones of the flyweight division, or simply Demetrious Johnson, will fight for the third time with Adriano Moraes on May the 5th in this year's One Championship main event. Make sure you have a comfortable and safe seat because this is going to be an excursion through Demetrious Johnson's best years of his professional career. Please don't forget about the likes, comments with forwards, and subscribe to the channel so you will never miss any upcoming videos. Here we go. Number 7. Yuya Wakamatsu. The first bout to begin with took place in late March of 2019, at a time when Demetrious Johnson's more than 5-year dominance in the UFC was coming to an end, and Mighty Mouse began a new chapter under the auspice of the Asian promotion One Championship. It was the legendary fighter's first appearance in a new venue, and as an opponent, the organization decided to face Kentucky-born fighter against Japanese native Yuya Wakamatsu. At the time, the league was holding a Grand Prix coinciding with Johnson's signing, and this bout took place in the quarterfinals.
Yuya Wakamatsu is a great martial artist. None of his fights are come by finish, TKO. He only has one decision. It's gonna be a tough fight. I'm looking for the challenge, and I can't wait to get in there and see how I hold up against him.
When I heard I was going up against Demetrious Johnson, I was shocked. It was like a dream. I accepted it immediately, and I was incredibly excited. I wanted to show people that a guy like me can compete with the world champion.
Here's a guy who has a very high finishing rate. I mean, he's got a lot of TKO wins. I know he's gonna bring the action. I know he's gonna try to stop me and knock me out, and I'm not gonna let that happen. My strength is everywhere. I can wrestle, I can strike, I can grapple. I got knockout victories, submission victories, TKO victories, so I've done it all.
The fight started at a high pace. The debutant took the initiative at first. Demetrious radiated absolute confidence in his actions and actively tried to get closer to the Japanese fighter. Takedown number 1 overtook Wakamatsu right after the first minute, but they didn't stay there for very long. Yuya's defense was excellent that night, and he was more than decent at his work as a second number. Despite the difference in experience, the challenger from Japan confronted the legend more than competitively, and he resisted at the highest level up to the last second of the first round. The Mighty Mouse in his turn pressured his opponent, vividly demonstrating the highest level. From the very beginning of the next round, Wakamatsu tried to take the initiative and began to attack. The former flyweight king of the best league stopped him in his tracks and sent him to the canvas. He promptly mowed down Japanese prospect and began looking for an opportunity for an early victory. The road appears under the feet of the one who walks. That's how we can characterize the ending of this fight. It was in the middle of the second round that Demetrious Johnson found such an opportunity. A heavy grip in the form of a guillotine forced Yuya Wakamatsu to sign a surrender, thus giving Mighty Mouse a glorious victory in his debut fight.
Yeah, obviously it was first round was a little rough, but we got our wits about us and we cut the pressure, and that was the game plan. Yuya Wakamatsu, he likes to have his opponents. He likes to be able to sit there and move around and throw the right hand, left hook, right hand, and we knew we had to put the pressure on him. I knew if I did that, I would run into a little bit of trouble because I'm engaging, I'm not trying to draw him out. So great first fight. I'm happy with the victory. I got the finish. That's mostly important, is that going out there finishing, not going to the decision. And I'm happy and ready for the next round.
Number 6. Wilson Heiss. Next stop for today is the 10th UFC title defense from Demetrious Johnson, dated April the 15th, 2017. At that golden time, Mighty Mouse's dominance was still going strong. The next contender for the organization's gold was Brazilian-born Wilson Heiss. At that time, he had a 6-2 record inside the promotion and was ranked number 3 in the flyweight division. This bout took place at the 24th UFC on Fox event, the main event of the night.
At the end of the day, it's another fight, sort of title fight for myself. One of my coaches told me a great quote. Forget his name, but he says, don't celebrate when you're in the end zone unless you don't plan on being there again. I plan on being in this position for a long time in my career, and yeah, that's how I answer that.
everything in my life, happens for a reason, and then I'm a very positive guy, I knew that it wasn't supposed to be last July, that's why it wasn't, so I just kept my composure, I do what I do every day. I train hard, I wake up early, I train hard, I work hard, and I knew that it's gonna be 1 fight, 2 fights, 3 fights, but I was gonna get there, and it's here.
This is where I want to be. First of all, talk about how it feels to now really be on the edge of tying that long-standing record.
It feels good. I mean, at the same time, it's just another fight. And it feels good to be there, and hopefully I go out there and be successful and make it happen.
In this bout, the unstoppable champion delivered another exemplary performance. He outclassed the Brazilian challenger in every aspect. As early as the equator of the third round, Mighty Mouse had moved the broken heist into deep water and forced a tap from a hard armbar. 10th title defense in a row.
Wilson Hayes, he's a great guy. He's had 30 MMA fights. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and this is the first time he's ever got submitted. So that just shows you the type of stuff I'm working up with Matt Hamer, Brad Kurtzen, AMC, Pigrish, and Kirkland, Washington. I'm a white belt in Jiu-Jitsu. I haven't really been able to put a lot of time into my gi game, but I'm always putting a lot of effort into my submission grappling.
He is mounted. DJ working on an elbow here. There's the tap. Demetrious Johnson submits Wilson Hayes. One title.
Number 5. Kyoji Horiguchi. With your permission, let's go back in time a little bit more. Next up, we have Demetrious Johnson's 6th defense in the strongest league. On April the 25th, 2015, the American fighter faced a tough Japanese prospect, Kyoji Horiguchi. At that time, Horiguchi was going on a record of 15-1 and 4-0 under the auspice of the major promotions. Even the legendary Mighty Mouse had a record of only 14 wins with 2 losses. This rivalry was shown to the world in the main event of UFC 186.
Demetrious, I hate to do it, but I think we have a bit of a beef because the people don't know this is breaking news. We were supposed to have a nice long sit-down interview yesterday, and for the first time in my career, my interview subject canceled.
Hey, dude,
Canceled.
I had diarrhea. What do you want me to do, huh?
That would make for a compelling interview.
You're damn right. Oh, no. Not that the fact that I had that. It was very uncomfortable, but we're here now. We're good to go. And I said we can reschedule.
Yeah, I don't know. That's up to my discretion.
That's fine. You just let me know.
Say, can you give me someone who at least would sell the fight a little bit as an opponent?
No, not at all. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd rather fight a guy who's worked his way up, who deserves a title shot. A lot of other people, think he doesn't deserve it, but that's not his problem and not my problem either.
You're a relatively big underdog going into this fight. Not a lot of people giving you much of a chance. Does that bother you?
I don't pay attention for that. At the same time, I appreciate the people who is betting me, and I believe you guys are lucky.
That night, Demetrious Johnson once again made history. He not only showed one more masterclass and example to a new generation of fighters, he left a clear and long-lasting mark in the pages of the strongest league. The ending is remarkable in this fight because the Mighty Mouse managed to stop his Japanese opponent a second before the final bell.
All right, well, you still got the finish, the latest submission in UFC history. You had a pretty late one with John Moraga, but you proved that the fight is never over. You're constantly looking for that finish. You were pretty close to your corner. What was Matt Hume telling you at the end of that fight?
Armbar! Armbar! And then I was like, I gotta get off my ass and stop being lazy and do it, so.
Final seconds of this fight. He's spinning for the arm. Can he get it? He's got it. It's all over. Unbelievable. It's all over.
Number 4. Joseph Benavidez. Let's dive a little bit more in depth to remember an earlier performance by the legendary Demetrious. Now we'll talk about the bout that took place in December 2013. As you remember, back in those days, the 125-pound weight class was still in its infancy and not many people saw the potential in it. After joining the strongest league and winning the championship belt in a bout with Joseph Benavidez, which ended in a split decision, Mighty Mouse had 2 successful defenses. During the same period of time, Benavidez managed to rehabilitate himself 3 times and claimed a rematch with Johnson. The bout was given main event status at the 9th UFC on Fox event.
I think we both improved. Joseph's gone out there and, knocked some guys out. I've gone out there and probably with one of the, the hardest puncher in the division, and John Moraga, and had great fights with those guys. And now we're going to meet again and see who's improved more.
You know, winning the title is winning the title, and that's, I feel, going to be sweet no matter who it's against. The fact of doing it against Demetrious is not really about the title. It's just going in and redeeming myself and showing myself and you know, everyone else out there how much I've improved. You know, like, what better way to show it than against the same person you lost to, you know? So that's the great thing about this sport. You know, we go in, we get to test ourselves and see how much we improve. So it's awesome. You know, it's against the same person, and I'm looking to go out there and make everybody proud.
I'm happy to be fighting Joseph Benavidez, especially in his backyard, and you know, I'm expecting boos, but it's just another fight. You know, we were fighting in his backyard, and you know, the Team Alpha Male boys are there barbecuing while me and him were fighting. It doesn't make a difference. I'm just out there to have fun.
The main event of the December tournament featured several significant circumstances at once. First, Mighty Mouse stopped Joseph Benavidez by knockout in the opening round. Second, Demetrious became the first person to basically beat this guy prematurely. Third, the champ got a well-deserved award for the knockout of the night. And fourth, after a controversial encounter in the past, he decisively put an exclamation mark on this confrontation.
The first thing we do is we'll go back and we'll look at the film. He goes, "You did that wrong. You did that wrong. You could have done that better." And then, so it kind of grew on me. So even now that I'm at the pinnacle of the sport and, you know, knocking out people who are considered the best fighters in the world, it's just, when you go through that, you know, for 7 years, it's almost like military style. It's like, okay, you know, there was another fight, go home, relax, and get ready for the next one and keep on improving, because there's always another person who's going to come try to take what I have.
Number 3. Ray Borg. Let's keep moving on to the best part. Next, of course, we'll talk about the historic bout, in Demetrious' case, another title defense in the Mighty Mouse's professional career. By October 2017, Johnson had built a great legacy in the flyweight division. The next victim on his path was another prospect, Ray Borg. Prior to that, the American's record was 11 wins with 2 losses by decision, and he was absolutely prepared to face the undisputed champion. The bout took place in the co-main event of UFC 216.
And that's how I think the composure comes from. You know, I fought the heaviest hitters in this division, the best in this division, and after a while, you just go through and you just gain composure with, you know, whether you're just spitting octagon.
I know I'm better than Demetrious Johnson in the scrambles.
I felt good, and yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be fighting in Las Vegas in T-Mobile Arena. And I'm looking to go out there and just make this weight and make a statement and look for the finish.
The bout with Ray Borg lasted 22 minutes out of 25 minutes available. What made it remarkable, however, was how Mighty Mouse won. In the final round, Demetrious pinned his opponent at the cage, tucked him to the suplex, and in the air transformed the move into a stiff armbar. This is a completely different level of technique. What's more, as history has shown, Ray Borg continued to fight until 2022, during which time he lost only twice. Demetrious Johnson was the only man to stop this guy prematurely.
It's awesome. You know, when I first got the belt back in 2012 and then defended it in 2013 against John Dodson, and then one after another, you know, going through the injury, staying healthy, always trying to get better at the gym, taking on new challenges, the rematches, you know, to see who's evolved. Fighting Greg Jackson's camp 3 times now. It's awesome. It's an awesome feeling. Thank you to my coaches and my teammates back at home. This was, you know, a 12-week camp, and to be able to come back out here, repeat again, have no injuries. It just feels really good to be able to not hear Anderson Silva's name next to mine anymore. Now my name is like, they're like, oh, who has the longest reigning, you know, title defenses? Demetrious Johnson.
Number 2. Henry Cejudo. Next is a bout with the guy who will have to take on the burden of champion and Triple C status in the near future, but who is a promising prospect with good potential at that moment. On April the 23rd, 2016, Demetrious Johnson set his sights on the 8th title defense at the main organization. His next opponent was Henry Cejudo with a 10-0 record, who showed his intent in the co-main event of UFC 197.
You can study and watch, but when you get in there, it's you can study to see how fast it is. It's almost like, you know, you study and see how fast Usain Bolt is. And then you're like, okay, we're gonna race against Usain Bolt. We think we know his stride pattern, we know his, you know, the arm he takes off with. We know every single thing in detail. And truly, you get next to him and it's like, and you see it in person, you see with your own 2 eyes,
you're never going to really get the true definition of what you've been watching and studying. So, you know, when you watch a video, it's just to give you a visual of letting your mind know, okay, well, this is what we're going to see. We're getting in there. And I'm pretty sure the last 7 people I fought have studied me just as probably as much as him, and probably had guys who've been in the sport a lot longer, like Dwayne Ludwig. You know, they studied me. I'm sure Ali Bakhtina's team studied me, John Moraga, etc. You know, John Moraga had Henry Cejudo in his camp, helping him get ready. That wrestling sure didn't work out for him, did it? But just saying, guys, like, you guys can sit there and watch, but it's like, you know, I'm not saying take anything away from them studying me or anything. I know it's gonna be a tough fight. I mean, the guy, he's an Olympic level athlete, and it's gonna be a good show.
You know, it's been part of it's part of my journey. It's been part of my this is my destiny. My destiny, like my number one goal as a human being was to be a good father, be a good husband, and after that was to be an Olympic champion. And after that, my third goal was to be UFC champion. And I wrote all this down when I was a junior in high school. I remember reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. He said, write your goals down, and that's exactly how I had them in order. I'm going 2, 3, and then eventually 1.
In his first bout with Henry Cejudo, Demetrious Johnson once again showed his uniqueness and the highest level of technique. He stopped the Olympic champion by TKO in the middle of the first round and once again took on the role of the man who becomes the only one to stop his opponent prematurely.
Those knees are coming out of nowhere. He's stunned him. He's in big trouble early. Great Muay Thai body. Trying to finish it. And it's all over. Demetrious Johnson.
Number 1. Adriano Morales. And to conclude today's compilation, we'll talk about Mighty Mouse's confrontation with the Brazilian fighter. At the beginning, we told you about how Demetrious Johnson's debut appearance at ONE FC. As you may remember, after beating Yuya Wakamatsu in Grand Prix quarterfinals, the legendary American had 2 more wins in a row and actually won the aforementioned tournament. Johnson's next target was a title bout with Adriano Morales. In April 2021, the great and fearsome Mighty Mouse unexpectedly lost to the Brazilian by TKO due to a brutal knee. After that, Demetrious took a break for over a year, and in August 2022, he tried to take revenge after that defeat.
I like these roles. You know, like I said, it's a progression of a fight, right? So I went down on my back. I was coming up for an underhook. Adriano had me posted. He blasted the knee. The fight's over. It's done. I don't get any more concussions. It's just done. And it was a different position I'd been in. You know, like I said, Adriano did a good job of using his length. He fully extended me and landed at the knee.
You know, obviously big knockout last time around. Are you expecting a different Demetrious Johnson this time?
Yes, of course. I think Demetrious Johnson gonna come with everything that he has, with another game plan, and we're talking about Demetrious Johnson, you know, and I'm just feeling prepared to try to stop the storm again.
I'm literally chill. This is, you know, I'll share 25 minutes with this man. Again, if we go the full distance, and after that, I'm on to the next thing. I'm already thinking about what I'm doing when I'm getting home. I'm thinking about the next time we're working on my stream. I'm thinking about t-shirts design. Like, I'm always, you know, I'm showing up, I'm fighting, going out there, giving it my all. And then after that, move on to the next one.
This time, Demetrious Johnson came out prepared like never before. The rematch with Adriano Morales lasted twice as long as their first fight, and even the air surrounding it was electrified. For almost a full 4 rounds, Mighty Mouse confronted the Brazilian champion at the highest level and did not concede to him in any of the episodes. Towards the end of the round, he shook his opponent with a heavy right hand and returned the favor with a flying knee. Johnson didn't even need to be fouled to make history again and become the ONE FC champion. And all of this at an age when most fighters are fading fast. Demetrious is the ultimate fighter without a doubt.
It was good, man. It was a great fight against Adriano Morales. I think the first fight we had against each other, you know, he got me, and then when I came home and I watched the fight, I was kind of a little irritated about a couple of things. So, but we got this one, and yeah, nothing but the best for Adriano, and yeah, man, it was a good fight.
That's the way it is, folks. The Mighty Mouse is one of the greatest fighters and basically the best performers in the history of mixed martial arts. Even now, at a fairly mature age, he holds the championship belt in another organization and is about to compete a trilogy with Adriano Moraes. This guy deserves all the respect in the world, unquestionable. Write your opinion in the comments below this video. Be sure to like it if you want to be as cool as Demetrious Johnson, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. See you soon.